Who cares?
My spear weighs 15 pounds just ahead of it. See? Look at the last Israelite that I killed. Look at the blood. See it? See it? I'm a bad man. And I am going to defeat Burger King and all the Israelites. Dilly dilly.
On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Tim does not have speaking parts. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 boys. In Saul's time, he was very old. Old man Jesse lived down on 27th Street. David was the youngest of the boys. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. For 40 days the Philistine came forward every morning, annoying everyone, and in the evening, and took his stand. Now Jesse said to his son David,
Take these 22 pounds of Whoppers, these 10 pounds of French fries for your brothers. Hurry to their camp. Okay? Take along these 10 cheese sticks to the commander of your unit to see how your brothers are doing. Saul, bring them back with assurance. Come back with some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines.
Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines facing each other. David left his things with the keeper of supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were doing. Since they were good, as he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted,
Don't you know you're lying? Listen to me. I like McDonald's. I don't care for you, Lord Burger King. And you're about to go down.
Just wish you had styrofoam cups still. Now the Israelites had been saying, Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage, and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel. David asked the men standing near him,
What will be done for the man who kills the Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who will this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of the Lord?
They repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, This is what will be done for the man who kills him. When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked,
Why have you come down here? With whom do you lead these few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are, how wicked your heart is. You come down over here to watch the battle. You stand in front of the mirror all day. Don't you, David?
Now what I have done, can't I even speak?
He then turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter. He just couldn't listen. And the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul. And Saul sent for him. David said to Saul,
Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him.
Saul replied,
Not able to go against these Philistines. You're only a young man. He's been a warrior from you.
But David said to Saul,
Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord, who's rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, will rescue me from the hands of the Philistines.
Saul said to David,
Oh, the Lord be with
"Be quiet, Goliath."
you.
Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around, because he was not used to this.
I cannot go in these, because I'm not used to them.
That makes sense. So he took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand. There you go. Chose 5 smooth stones from the stream that David passed out in only 30 minutes ago. Put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him. You have a terrible shield bearer. He's never where he's supposed to be.
Never.
Kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and very handsome. And he despised him. He said to David,
You are not a warrior like I am. I'm a big boy, and I'm going to whoop you. There's nothing you can do about it. Pretty boy, you can't take me. I'm the great warrior Goliath.
"Are you done?" Okay. David said to the Philistine,
What does he say now?
You come against me with a sword and a spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals. And the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by a sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord, and he will give all of you into our hands.
as the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine and killed him. He slung it and struck him on the forehead, and the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. Okay, he's face down on the ground now. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. David ran and stood over him. He took hold of the Philistine sword and drew it from the sheath. And he killed him and he cut off his head. He has the head of a pig. Bacon and eggs for everyone. Yay! And when the Philistines saw what David had done, they ran in fear like a bunch of chickens. The end.